After a series of allegations of multiple lockdown-breaching parties and weeks of denials of rule-breaking, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom has now apologised for attending one gathering and has been plunged into a major crisis around his leadership.
Mr. Speaker, I want to apologise.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has apologised to Parliament on Wednesday for a Bring Your Own Booze gathering that was held at his official residence during the country's first lockdown.
I regret very much that we did not do things differently.
This was the first time he admitted he had attended the party at 10 Downing Street on 20th of May 2020, when COVID-19 rules limited social gatherings to the bare minimum.
And when I went into that garden just after 6 on the 20th of May 2020 to thank groups of staff before going back into my office 25 minutes later to continue working, I believed implicitly that this was a work event. I know that millions of people across this country have made extraordinary sacrifices over the last 18 months, and I know the rage they feel with me and with the government I lead when they think that in Downing Street itself the rules are not being properly followed by the people who make the rules.
Opposition Labour Party leader Keir Starmer said Johnson must now resign.
After months of deceit and deception, the pathetic spectacle of a man who's run out of road. His defence that he didn't realise he was at a party. It is so ridiculous that it's actually offensive to the British public. He was hosting boozy parties in Downing Street. Yes. Is he now going to do the decent thing and resign?
Mr. Speaker.
In response, the Prime Minister deferred to an internal investigation into other allegations that he and his officials held rule-breaking parties.
That I wish things had been done differently.
2 Snap polls on Tuesday showed well over half of the respondents thought Johnson should resign. There are also mutterings that Conservative lawmakers who can trigger a leadership challenge in Parliament are sharpening their knives.
Boris Johnson's apology for breaking COVID lockdown rules, or appearing to do so, fell short for some of his fellow lawmakers. The opposition parties are calling for his resignation. Some of his own Conservative Party members agree he should quit, especially if investigations now underway conclude that he broke regulations himself.
He's not apologised, Mr. Speaker, for breaking the rules and breaking the law. He's sorry because he's been caught. Yeah. He is bang to rights. Yeah. So when my constituents were making unimaginable decisions, he was hosting a boozy party in Downing Street. So how does he think he can still maintain the one rule for him and another for the rest of us? He cannot, and he must resign.
In the House of Commons, he's accepted and admitted he was there. He's also apologised for that. And crucially for me, he said in hindsight, if he had his time again, he would have done things differently. And that to me is an acceptance from the Prime Minister that he did wrong. And therefore, to be consistent with what I've said before, I don't believe his position as Prime Minister and leader of the Conservative Party is tenable, and he does need to resign.
Well, a couple of polls in the last 24 hours suggest that a majority of Britons currently think Boris Johnson should step down over all of this. There is no sign, for now, that he intends to do so.
It isn't acceptable that he and his colleagues have behaved in the way that they have. An apology doesn't really cover it off, but I don't feel that a prime ministerial resignation would really help the nation at this stage.
I think he now has a track record of duplicity and dishonesty over the course of a number of issues.
But I'd say the majority of us have broken the rules somewhere not to suit ourselves. He's only human at the end of the day. I'm not going to slate the geezer because he's broken the rules as well, but that's just my opinion.